Okay, now I want to talk to you a little bit about retaliation. Retaliation is when you have made a protected disclosure. What's a protected disclosure? That would be any disclosure that's protected under the law. For instance, if you went up to Human Resources and you told them that you feel you're being discriminated by your supervisor based on your gender, that in and of itself is a protected disclosure. Now, as we talked about before, I would like you to do that in an email, because then we have no question that you went to Human Resources and you told them. Or you can put it in a letter form and say the same thing. But now you've made a written protected disclosure, and if any action is then taken against you, you now have a very good claim under retaliation. And what I mean by that is it's often quite difficult to prove discrimination. Not that it's impossible, you can prove it, but it's a much more difficult claim to prove than retaliation. So what happens if you made that protected disclosure and then, for instance, they come and start changing your schedule? For some people, changing the schedule, that's not going to make a big deal. But let's say you're a single mom and you have to pick up your kid at a certain time during the day. If they change your schedule, now it's affected you personally. Now, on a case-by-case basis, you may have retaliation. And especially if it happens within a certain amount of time. If it's within 3 months, it's taken as per se retaliation, meaning, you're going to be able to bring this kind of a claim. Let's say, for instance, that you are not in a protected class that we discussed earlier. Even if you're not in a protected class, if you go up to, say, Human Resources again, and you put in writing in an email that you think another person is being discriminated against based on their race or, their gender or whatever protected class they might be in, and then suddenly your boss starts taking, actions against you, you are covered under retaliation. You can bring a claim for retaliation even though you do not fit in any certain protected class and it wasn't directed against you. What's the reason for this? The reason is if this claim did not exist, it would chill. It would stop other employees from coming forward. Because if they see you come forward and get fired and nothing happens to the employer, they're never going to come forward. No one will ever report these illegal things going on. So that's why it's so important to go ahead and report what's happening. Even if you're scared, you need to do it, because like I've always said, if the boat is sinking anyway, you know what? You may as well protect yourself and see if you can find that little life raft. Otherwise, it's still going to sink, even if you don't come forward. So this way you'll have the retaliation claim and you can move on from there.